and are taking advantage of them. Every single day, we are receiving partners in development. They are looking at opportunities we have, and they can't imagine what they are seeing. But for us in Uganda, we are always agonizing, analyzing problems. I think the way we are taught to identify problems, problem statement, we need to start looking at statement of opportunity, academia, so that our mindset can as well change. Even as we talk of tenfold growth, some people are saying, this can't happen. How can it happen? There is this problem, there is this challenge, we need to start looking at how do we take advantage of these opportunities. The third one, Right Honorable, is building a culture of integrity. Everyone in this country is talking about corruption. The question is, who is the corrupt? If everybody is seeing corruption, who's the corrupt? We need to build a culture of integrity by setting standards and strict enforcement. It requires taking the errant to task, regardless of rank or status. I would want to inform you that in this tenfold strategy, we have set out to clean up by enforcing laws and or strengthen the weak ones, facilitate the building of an independent and effective judiciary and a responsive public service. All of these pillars will require leadership and political will, even if at a political cost. The fourth one is effective public participation in planning, budgeting, monitoring, implementation, by holding all of us who are in the public offices accountable. Uganda is known for participatory budgeting. That's why we are here today. We now want to take it a notch higher by involving you, the public, in problem solving rather than problem defining. We are here to seek not only your input into the budget, but collaboration. We are here to listen from you how best we could turn challenges into opportunities, and by extension, the opportunities into results. The results we need are startups. We need new businesses. We need jobs. We need incomes. We need wealth and better services. We are here to seek not only your input, as I've said, but please help us to get solutions. And I will re-emphasize again, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard enough about the challenges. Let us look at how do we work together to get opportunities which are around us turn into results. That's all I really request Uganda to do going forward. Lastly, Right Honorable, is building global consensus and stamping budget games out of Uganda. The popular view is that Uganda is good at making policies and plans, but poor at implementing them. Research shows that top-down implementation, which we do here in Uganda, is successful only when three conditions are fulfilled. Number one, global consensus among the key actors. Number two, no budget games among the bureaucrats. Number three, street-level bureaucrats, those who are closer to the problems, are offered key roles in solving the problems. That's only when you succeed in implementing. Under the leadership of His Excellency the President, the country is progressively building consensus around the tenfold growth and full monetization of the economy. What is likely to derail us now are the budget games, where ministries, agencies, local governments, missions abroad, name it, use different tactics to get budgets they do not need. I have recently held meetings with accounting officers and planners across government and cautioned them against engaging in these games going forward. We are committed to stamping budget games out of Uganda. We are going to step up budget analysis and budget scrutiny. We must spend the money we have efficiently and on activities that create value in the economy, but also deliver services to Ugandans. Ugandans need better roads. Ugandans need stable electricity. They need clean water. They need well-functioning health facilities, as well as security. And certainly, they need jobs, incomes, and flourishing businesses. I will communicate these and other policy, administrative, and operational guidelines to the accounting officers and the country in the first budget call circular for the financial year we are budgeting for, 26-27, by Monday next week. We are here, therefore, Right Honourable, to get the views of how best we may budget to achieve the tenfold growth. In particular, we are ready to hear from the public how differently we may carry out these consultations without turning them into a ritual. How we may move from consultation to co-creation. As the ministry responsible for economic development of this country, we are deliberate and intentional. We are committed to investing in the ATMs. These are agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral beneficiation, and science, technology, and innovation, STI, including ICT and the creatives. But also, they are enablers to turn Uganda into a $500 billion economy. We are therefore committed to integrating your feedback into the budget. Looking forward to your practical ideas to make Uganda richer, full of jobs, and with better services for everyone. I thank my team of the technical people at the ministry for crafting the strategy and all the partners in the development of Uganda. I now take the honor to invite the Honourable Minister of State for General Duties to come and make a few remarks and invite the Right Honourable Prime Minister to open this conference. Thank you very much.
Right Honourable Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Deputy Prime Ministers, my colleagues ministers, my colleagues members of Parliament, in the interest of time, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Without wasting time, it is my pleasure to invite the Prime Minister to open the conference.
The Honourable Ministers, President, the Honourable Members of Parliament, our development partners, members of the diplomatic corps, local government leaders, representatives of the civil society organizations. I know we have the private sector present here, all accounting officers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me to first and foremost bring you parental greetings from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda. The President is aware we have the budget conference today, and so he wishes you prosperity and better lives. Ladies and gentlemen, at this material time, please allow me to welcome you all to this National Budget Conference for the financial year 2026-2027, which kickstarts the consultative process for preparation of the budget for the financial year 2026-2027. And this process will be guided by the theme, full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. The budget for the financial year 2026-2027 is very special because of the following reasons. It will be the first budget to implement the next National Resistance Movement Manifesto for the period 2026-2031. Number two, it will also be the first budget to implement the new charter for fiscal responsibility in line with Section 4(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, Cap 171. Number three, why this budget is special. It will be the second budget to implement the fourth National Development Plan, which is the first of the 6 NDPs to deliver the 10-fold growth strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, I commend the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and his technical team for spearheading this process. The budget strategy for the next financial year acknowledges the achievements in social economic transformation, and it places special focus on strengthening the coordination and implementation of government programs by improving efficiency, strengthening project execution, and increasing the productivity of programs to deliver more results within the available resources. In Uganda, there is a Runyankole word known as omushokoro. Omushokoro, omusomyo in Uganda. In Runyoro, omusoina. I don't know which other languages, which means the bone marrow in English. When you get a disease of the bone marrow known as leukemia, the chances of survival are limited, or they are not there. Therefore, the bone marrow of any economy is the cost of doing business. The cost of electricity, the cost of transport. Here we are talking about roads, the railway, water transport, the cost of labor, and the cost of money, in addition to peace and security. When the unit cost of electricity, transport, labor, and money is low, the cost of production automatically lowers, hence the increase in profit margin. It is subversive for any leader to neglect investment in key sectors of energy, the railway, water transport, roads, because no investor can be attracted to any economy to make losses. On that note, therefore, the budget strategy aims at deepening the implementation of the stable foundation for sectors such as agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral-based industrial development, science, technology and innovation, including ICT and creative arts industry, and the enablers. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development will explain the specific priority areas for the ATMs and enablers in the budget for financial year 2026-2027 later in his speech. I request all of you to pay keen attention to his speech. As I have already indicated, next year's budget takes into consideration the new policy targets for the new manifesto to guide the next term, directed by the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility. I urge all ministers, accounting officers to ensure that they align their priorities and budgets with the new policy guidance and direction. The government's position is to deliver Uganda into the middle income status through the tenfold growth strategy of expanding the economy from US $61.3 billion in the financial year 2025-2026 to US $500 billion by the year 2040. This calls for the whole of government approach to the implementation of the agreed policy objectives and targets. As guided by His Excellency the President during the State of the Nation address in June this year, the 4 NRM principles of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy should help in propelling Uganda to a modern society guided by the following areas. 1, peace and security of persons and their property in all parts of the country. Number 2, accelerating industrialization with a focus on building factories which use locally available materials as inputs. Number 3, export promotion and import substitution by boosting the domestic manufacturing capacity. Number 4, strengthening the private sector. As I've already told you, the private sector can only survive if they get cheap money. Number 5, increasing market access for our exports, both in the region, such as East African Community, COMESA, among others, and international markets. Number 6, skilling our youth through the zonal industrial hubs. The youth will continue to acquire skills in tailoring, carpentry, metal fabrication, welding, shoemaking, weaving, hairdressing, knitting, and bakery. We shall add plumbing and motor mechanics in the near future. The training is free of charge, and no prior education qualifications are required. Number 7, increasing revenue collection by Uganda Revenue Authority without hurting businesses. I repeat, we must increase revenue collection by Uganda Revenue Authority without hurting businesses. Number 8, expenditure rationalization by restructuring the government. Number 9, we shall continue to fight corruption. Number 10, ensuring that the remaining 33% of our population or homesteads still stuck in subsistence economy join the money economy through wealth creation programs such as the Parish Development Model, Emyoga, Agriculture Credit Facility, Grow, Invite, Youth Livelihood Program, Uganda Women Empowerment Program, among others. I therefore urge all ministers and accounting officers to ensure their priority areas for the next financial year are aligned with the ATMs and enablers in line with the NRM strategy or ideology. As we start the planning and the budgeting process for the financial year 2027, our task is to ensure we are all committed to the efforts of lifting the 33% of our households from subsistence economy into the money economy. Furthermore, I wish to reiterate the message of coordinated planning and budgeting through the Ministry of Finance Planning and Economic Development to ensure that all government interventions adhere to the modern policies and principles of economic growth and development. We need to boost our domestic revenue mobilization to achieve our targets and minimize borrowing for domestically and externally, as this undermines the realization of Uganda's development. Our capacity to identify any risks and put forward feasible mitigation measures will help us to ensure that we contain any domestic and external shocks to our economy without undermining our growth strategy. To the diplomatic corps and the development partners, members of the civil society and the private sector, I call upon you to join the government in this consultative process for the purpose of goal consensus in our bid to plan better for this country. Your efforts are always appreciated. To all the people of Uganda, I call upon you, without any forms of discrimination, to take advantage of the priority areas of the government as we drive to graduate to the upper middle income status. I thank you all for listening to me, for God and my country. It is now my singular honor to officially open the consultative process for the budget of the financial year 2026-2027. I thank you. Let me now call upon the Minister to present the budget strategy.
The Honorable Prime Minister, I don't know whether we have Deputy Prime Ministers here. Honorable colleagues, ministers, heads of diplomatic missions and members of diplomatic corps, members of parliament, cultural leaders, permanent secretaries, resident district commissioners, LC 5 chairpersons, members of the civil society, members of the private sector, technical staff from all ministries, departments, and agencies, ladies and gentlemen. Right Honorable Prime Minister, I have prepared the budget strategy for financial year 26-27 in line with the Article 155, Part 1 and 2 of our Constitution and Section 12, Part 1 and Part 2 and 3 of the Public Finance Management Act, CAP 171. This strategy will inform the financial 26-27 national budget preparation process. The theme of the budget has been maintained as full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. The year financial 26-27 will be 1. The second year of implementing the 4th National Development Plan, number 4, which is the first plan to deliver the 10-fold growth strategy and the last plan to deliver the Agenda 2030 of the Sustainable Development Goals. The first year of implementation the Charter for Fiscal Responsibility for the period 26-27 to financial year 2030-31, and 3, the first budget to implement the next ruling party manifesto financial 26-27 2030-31. This budget strategy comes at a time when the country has already made significant gains in its socio-economic transformation journey. In particular, the country has fulfilled the requirements to graduate from the category of least developed countries to a category of lower middle income status, attained sustained peace and macroeconomic stability, established a strong base for the competitive economy with significant investment in infrastructure and institutions, diversified its exports from traditional, the 3 C's, coffee, cotton, and copper, and the another 3 C's, tea, tourism, and tobacco. We made significant progress in opening up regional and continental markets. We registered notable improvements in human development indicators, such as an increase in life expectancy at 68.2 years from 63.3 years in 2010-2011, driven by improvements in several health indicators, and has beat goal consensus on growing the economy tenfold to attain upper middle income status before 2040. Right, Prime Minister, in financial 26-27, particular attention will be on further improving government efficiency, strengthening project execution, and increasing productivity of all Ugandans. Therefore, this budget strategy presents: 1, the preparation process for the financial 26-27 budget strategy. 2, the strategic policy direction for financial 26-27 and the medium term. 3, recent performance of the economy, the economic outlook for financial 26-27 and the medium term. 4, situational analysis of the state of implementation of the priority areas of the tenfold growth strategy and implications for financial 26-27 budget strategy. 5, the budget strategy and the priority areas of focus for financial 26-27. 6, the financing strategy for financial 26-27. And 7, risks and mitigation measures. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, the financial 26-27 budget strategy was informed by the strategic policy guidance by His Excellency the President, the implementation of the tenfold growth strategy, the NDP 4 and its attendant program implementation action plans. We have also undertaken initial consultations with the private sector, civil society organizations, the local development partners group, the second Public Investment Management Systems Conference, and the 9th High-Level Economic Growth Forum. The key observations arising out of the ninth high-level economic growth include the following, among others. 1. The changing and complex global context, which presents opportunities to the tenfold growth strategy. The global context is characterized by changes in rules and institutions governing international trade, the declining development assistance, and the emergence of new innovative financing sources. This strategy has therefore prioritized actions for strengthening domestic financing, improving domestic savings, supporting growth of the private sector, strengthening economic and commercial diplomacy, and regional integration for sustained access to markets. 2, positioning exports as the key drivers for the country's competitiveness and sustainability by diversifying and increasing the quantum and the quality of exports through value addition and market access. 3, discipline in managing obligations, especially public debt and domestic arrears, by increasing allocative efficiency across all the NDP 4 programs and reducing the fiscal deficit by strengthening domestic revenue mobilization. 4, enhancing efficiency in investment of oil revenue, especially avoiding investment in non-tradables. The strategy is anchored on sustainable investment in the anchor programs and enablers of faster growth. 5, addressing the constraints to low productivity in agriculture, industry, and services. This strategy has therefore prioritized actions to increase the total factor productivity across all programs. 6, other key observations that have informed this strategy include pragmatism in the deployment of industrial policy, public finance management reforms for integrating off-budget support and increasing donor trust, efficiency improvements in public procurement, improvement in project execution and public investment management, and the critical importance of research and development to inform decision-making. Now, the strategic policy direction for financial year 26-27 and the medium term. Right Honourable Prime Minister, strategic policy direction for financial year 26-27 and the medium term is guided by the aspiration to expand the size of the economy tenfold in the near future, starting by doubling GDP every 5 years. The strategy targets sustained investment in the 4 priority growth drivers, which are agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral development, including oil and gas, and science, technology, and innovation, including ICT and creative arts. In addition, the strategy prioritizes continued investment to key enablers of the tenfold growth as enshrined in the NDP 4 and its attendant program implementation action plan. These are security, transport infrastructure, electricity, irrigation, social services, education, health, and water for consumption, industrial parks, domestic revenue mobilization, regional economic integration, environmental protection, disaster management, and elimination of corruption. Now, performance of the economy in financial 24-25 and the outlook for 25-26 and the medium term. Economic growth. During financial 24-25, Uganda's economy registered a strong growth, as I have been always telling you people. GDP grew at 6.3% compared to 6.1% in financial 23-24. This steady upward trajectory of the economy was on account of increased government expenditure in productive sectors through the PDM, industrial output, services, tourism, as well as investments in the oil and the gas sector. In addition, good agricultural harvests due to good weather, agro-processing, and growth in fixed capital formation also contributed to the growth of GDP. The growth was broad-based across all sectors, including in agriculture, industry, services, and ICT. In nominal terms, the size of the economy increased to shillings 226.3 trillion in financial 24-25, equivalent to US dollars 61.3 billion and US dollars 174.2 billion in purchasing power parity terms, rising from shillings 203.7 trillion, equivalent to US dollars 53.9 billion in financial year 23-24. Inflation. Inflation has remained low, inflation has remained low, recorded at 3.8% both in August and July 2025, down from 3.9% in June 2025. This is due to coordination of monetary and fiscal policies resulting in overall macroeconomic stability and economic resilience. It has also been supported by stable global fuel prices and a reduction in annual food crop prices due to the increased food supply supported by the good weather. The inflation outlook for financial 25-26 remains well anchored within the medium-term target of 5%, signaling continued price stability even in the face of emerging risks. This provides a solid foundation for the sustained economic growth and fiscal consolidation. I go to exchange rate. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, the shilling has strengthened against the US dollars for the fourth consecutive month, appreciating at an average of mid-rate of shillings 3,507 US dollars from shillings 3,606 US dollars in June 2025. The strong shilling is being supported by increased inflows from offshore investors and diaspora remittances, foreign exchange, earnings from exports. The robust monetary policy implemented by the Bank of Uganda. In addition, government's decision to import petroleum products directly from refineries through Uganda National Oil Company has also helped to stabilize oil prices and the demand for foreign exchange. The global weakening of the US dollars against major currencies has also played a part in stabilizing and strengthening our currency. Uganda's exchange rate dynamics over the past fiscal years reflect both the resilience of our economy and the effectiveness of our macroeconomic management. Government's commitment to sound economic governance, strategic investment in productive programs, and the growing confidence of international markets in Uganda's economic trajectory has led to Uganda's shilling now ranked among the most stable currencies in Africa. Mkupe muungano. When we do good things, we should appreciate ourselves. Uganda's exchange rate. The paparazzi, please take this. Uganda's exchange rate dynamics over the past fiscal years reflect both the resilience of our economy and the effectiveness of our microeconomic management. Government's commitment to sound economic governance, strategic investment in productive programs, and the growing confidence of international markets in Uganda's economic trajectory has led to Uganda's shilling now ranked among the most stable currencies in our Africa. Interest rates. The lending rates for shilling-dominated credit increased from 18.64% in May 2025 to 19.7% in June 2025. This increase was partly driven by higher demand for personal and household loans, e.g., mobile money loans. Similarly, the lending rates for foreign currency-dominated credit increased from 8.36% in May 2025 to 8.78% in June 2025. The rise was partly on account of the higher risk associated with new borrowers, particularly in the mortgage and the telecom sectors, which prompted commercial banks to charge higher interest rates. The Bank of Uganda maintained its central bank rate at 9.75% in August 2025, marking the 11th consecutive month of that rate. Private sector credit. Honorable Prime Minister, the stock of private sector credit grew to shilling 23.9 trillion by end of financial year 25-26 from shillings 21.9 trillion in the same period a year before. This represents an annual growth rate of 9.1%. To further expand private sector credit, government is working to lower access requirements for SMEs by subsidizing capital for wealth creators through programs such as PDM, Emyoga, Agricultural Credit Facility, Small Business Recovery Fund, UDB Export Guarantee Schemes, and Women Enterprise Fund, among others. Through these wealth funds, government has cumulatively invested a total of 10.2 trillion in the private sector. In addition, government is further improving financial infrastructure using digitization, customer protection, and financial literacy, as well as efficient resolution of financial disputes in the courts of law. Now, exports. Exports of goods and services grew by 32% in financial year 24-25 to US $13.3 billion, driven by the higher coffee and cocoa volumes and prices and gold re-exports. Merchandise exports increased to US dollars 10.6 billion in financial 2024-25 from US dollars 7.8 billion a year before, registering an annual growth of 36%. Service exports increased by over 400 million to US dollars 2.6 billion in a financial year from USD 2.2 billion a year before. The strong export performance has resulted in a reduction in the trade deficit by US dollars 376 million in financial year 24-25 compared to the previous year. The top 5 exports in financial year 24-25 included gold, cocoa beans, light manufactured products including steel, fish and its products, and sugar. Manufactured export receipts grew by 33.1% to US dollars 5.175 billion in financial 24-25 compared to US dollars 3.8 billion a year before. The top 10 manufactured or in processed exports include gold, which fetched 4,211 US dollars billion, light manufactured exports US dollars 225 million, sugar US dollars 202 million, oil exports US dollars 143 million, cement US dollars 88 million, plastic products US dollars 61 million, water, you see we are even exporting water, 45.2 million, beer US dollar 33.4 million, and soap US dollars 24.9 million. At 8.4% of GDP, manufactured exports are still very low. This has been given priority in the 10-fold growth strategy and the 4th NDP, and will be given a priority in the fiscal consolidation agenda. Exports of service receipts increased to US dollars 2.6 billion in financial 24-25 from US dollars 2.2 billion the year before. However, services have registered the lowest growth of 11% per year on average over the last 5 years, and only 4.6% per year on average in the last 10 years. The biggest leakage on exports of services is transport logistics, with outflows growth of US dollars 2.7 billion in financial 24-25, while receipts from the same source were only US dollars 202 billion in the same period. This shows the untapped potential in services exports, including in transport logistics, business outsourcing, big data analysis, and other online services, which will be important for accelerated growth in realization of the 10-fold growth, of the 10-fold growth strategy. Now, foreign direct performance. Foreign direct investment increased to US dollars 3.664 billion in financial year 24-25 from US dollars 2.996 billion in the previous year, registering an annual growth of 22.3%. The economy is on track to attract about 5 billion by the end of this financial year 25-26. The areas where FDI has been utilized include mineral development, oil and gas, transport, logistics, and agro-processing. Now, remittances. Despite the uncertainty in source countries, remittances increased to US dollars 1.567 billion in financial year 24-25 compared to US dollars 1.403 billion in the previous year. The main sources of remittances are USA, European Union, and the Middle East. The government program of increasing skilled labor force in specialized areas, coupled with economic and commercial diplomacy, will help to drive remittances. Tourism. Tourism receipts increased to US dollars 1.6 million in financial year 24-24 compared to US dollars 1.4 billion in the previous year, registering annual growth of 13.4%. This would have been higher if there was no instability in the global geopolitical environment, which has disrupted migrant workers in USA and European countries. Fiscal performance. Tax and non-tax revenue for the financial 24-25 was shillings 32.297 trillion compared to shillings 27.6 trillion the previous year. Of this, tax revenue amounted to shilling 29.9 trillion, while non-tax revenue was shillings 2.2 trillion. Therefore, the tax effort, which is measured as the ratio of tax revenue to GDP, was 13.2% in financial 24-25 compared to 12.6% a year before. Overall, total revenue collections were equivalent to 14.2% of total domestic economic output. Domestic tax revenue amounted to shillings 19.4 trillion or 63.5% in financial year 24-25, while international tax revenue was shillings 11.1 trillion or 36.5% in the same period. Direct domestic tax revenue, including pay-as-you-earn and corporation tax, amounted to shillings 11.5 trillion in the same period. Evidence by EPRC and others suggests that the total revenue gap is estimated at about 6% of GDP, suggesting revenue leakages and therefore the potential to increase revenue to GDP to 20% in the medium term. Right Honorable Prime Minister, total expenditure was shilling 72.8 trillion in financial year 24-25. Excluding Bank of Uganda securities and domestic refinancing, what we call date rollover, total expenditure amounted to shillings 47.2 trillion, equivalent to 20.8% of GDP. The budget deficit was estimated at 6.1% of GDP, which was financed by both domestic of shillings 12.1 trillion and external borrowing worth shillings 3.529 trillion, or US dollars 955.85 million. The deficit was higher than the previous year, 4.7% of GDP, on account of supplementary budgets that led to more than programmed expenditures. The higher than programmed expenditure was financed largely by domestic borrowing. In the 2 months of July and August of financial 25-26, total revenue and grants amount at the onset of commercial production of oil and gas in 2026, the economy is projected to register double-digit growth rates. Let me repeat it. It was me, I wanted these paparazzis to tell the world, particularly the country. The economy is projected to grow by 7% this financial year, 24-25, and at least 8% per year on average in the next 5 years. At the onset of commercial production of oil and gas in 2026, inshallah, the economy is projected to register double-digit growth rates. In nominal terms, GDP is estimated at shillings 251.4 trillion, which is equivalent to US dollars 69.6 billion this year, 25-26. This is equivalent to US dollars 197.7 billion in purchasing power parity terms. My staff, please, you don't think we are talking to economists. My terms, please, my staff, you will have to explain what that one means. In financial 26-26, GDP is projected to grow by 10.4%, which translates to shillings 291.4 trillion, which is equivalent to US dollars 880.8 billion. This is equivalent to US dollars 229.7 billion in purchasing power parity terms, mainly driven by commercial production of oil and gas in 2026. This outlook is on account of, 1, a projected increase in production and productivity in the key sectors of our economy. 2, effective implementation of wealth creation programs. 3, continued investment in infrastructure. 4, increased exports supported by higher manufactured products, diversifying and expanding regional trade. 5, increased foreign direct investment. 6, rising household aggregate demand and consumption due to the PDM and other wealth creation programs that boost household incomes. 7, addressing institutional and micro-level constraints. And then 7, maintaining macroeconomic stability, peace, security as a requisite for sustained high economic growth. Now I turn to budget strategy and the priority areas of this financial 26-27. Right Honorable Prime Minister, The budget strategy for financial 26-27 prioritizes investment in the first phase accelerator action of the 10-fold growth strategy, anchored on the 4 key growth areas underpinned by the goal of full monetization and formalization of this economy. As already noted, in order to consolidate the gains and sustain the momentum for the macroeconomic transformation, the theme of the budget for financial 26-27 is maintained as full monetization of Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the budget strategy for financial 26-27 is anchored on the following specific objectives. 1, increase the value addition to agricultural, mineral materials, oil and gas, and tourism. 2, increase the investment in science, technology, and innovation. 3, sustain the investment in the enablers, transport infrastructure, electricity, irrigation, industrial parks, education, health and security. 4, enhance revenue collection. 5, promoting regional integration and access to markets. Realization of the 10-fold growth strategy will require implementing reforms and actions to address binding constraints to productivity and increase efficiency in the critical anchor areas and enabler interventions. Therefore, the priority areas include: 1, improving budget efficiency and functionality of government. Right Honourable Prime Minister, significant progress has been registered in improving budget efficiency. The fiscal consolidation agenda has led to repurposing budget resources to higher impact areas. In the last 2 financial years, a total of $2.9 trillion has been repurposed in line with the guidance by His Excellency, the President, and the priority areas of the 10-fold growth strategy. Some of the areas benefiting from reprioritized resources include the parish development model, $1.08 trillion, enhancing salaries of scientists and security personnel, shillings 1.12 trillion, Emyoga, shillings 446 billion, maintenance of district roads, shillings 176 billion, among several others. 2, improving government's efficiency. In order to make government more efficient, several reforms have been implemented, which include rationalization of government, RAPEX pay reform, investment in digitization of services and focusing planning and implementation will include: 1, stamping out budget games and corruption. Let me repeat this. Stamping out budget games and corruption. 2, closing leakages in routine expenditure, such as transfers to school, health centers, and payroll. 3, improving liquidity management and improving credit ratings. 4, diversifying sources of development finance, including into innovation financing. 5, strengthening internal controls and their audit function. 5, strengthening internal controls and the audit function. 6, completing public procurement reforms. 7, improving management and maintenance of public assets. 8, increasing domestic revenue mobilization. 9, strengthening the governance and supervision of state-owned enterprises. 10, unlocking constraints to project execution and dealing with the issue of counterpart financing. 10, improving performance management in the public service. And 11, improving coordination of government around a common goal. Priority interventions in the financial 26-27 budget towards the 10-fold growth strategy. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the financial year 26-27 is the second year of implementation of the NDP 4 and the 10-fold growth strategy. Therefore, this budget strategy builds on the ongoing phased implementation of the 10-fold growth strategy through continuous prioritization of ATMs and their enablers. The strategy focuses on strengthening efficiency in delivery of public services and improving productivity in the implementation of critical intervention for higher and sustained economic growth. Agro-industrialization. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the major focus of this anchor area is to reverse the low productivity in agriculture through investment in the accelerators actions of commercializing and formalizing farming and increase agro-based exports. The key implementation reforms to support agro-industrialization starting financial 26-27 will include: 1, adoption of a business model in the multiplication and distribution of agricultural inputs. 2, the adoption of a cost-sharing mechanism between the government and the farmers in the acquisition and distribution of livestock vaccines and establishment of revolving financing that will sustain continued vaccine purchases. The specific priority interventions for financial 26-27 include: 1, agricultural research, irrigation and extension services. 2, fertilizer use and mechanization. 3, post-harvest handling and storage and aggregation facilities, including operationalization of the existing facilities. 4, agro-processing and value addition. 5, inspection, surveillance, certification, enforcement of quality standards, traceability and market access. 6, implementation of climate change adaptation policies. And 7, increasing agricultural insurance and providing affordable finance to commercial farmers. Now we turn to tourism development. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the major focus of this 10th growth driver is increasing tourist inflows and doubling the average spend and length of stay for tourists. Let me repeat this. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the major focus of this 10-fold growth driver is increasing tourist inflows and doubling the average spend and length of stay for our tourists. Over the medium term, tourism development will focus on last-mile connectivity to tourism sites, improving air and water connectivity, extending electricity to tourism sites, and improving availability and reliability of ICT connectivity, in addition to windy and Murchison Falls, giving priority to Mount Rwenzori. Honourable Prime Minister, the specific priority interventions in financial 26-27 budget will include: 1. Further investment in infrastructure development in tourism sites, improving and enforcing hospitality standards and training, promoting health tourism by investment in specialized health facilities, and stepping up investment in missions abroad to promote economic and commercial diplomacy, all of which are currently ongoing. Construction of refreshment centers and highway sanitation facilities, and ensuring that all highway road development designs provide for standard stopover points to be developed and operationalized in partnership with the private sector. Branding and marketing of Uganda as a tourism and investment destination, including supporting further meetings, incentives, conferences, events, leveraging digital technology in marketing Uganda's tourism potential, destination market representatives, domestic and international media campaigns, development of the Explore Uganda and the Power of Africa, and participation in international tourism expos and digital marketing. Continue to support economic and commercial diplomacy and strengthening synergies between ECD interventions and local institutions. Increasing the country's tourism products and profile the tourist sites to increase the range of interest and value for money for tourists. Expediting the identification, promotion, conservation, and preservation of regional tourist sites. Increasing further the stock of skilled personnel in the tourism industry to close the gap between the growth of Uganda's tourism sector and the supply of skilled professionals, including hospitality management, tour guiding, and wildlife conservation have been trained. Improving coordination across different agencies, that is Ministry of Finance, MOFA, UTB, MTWA, and ensure consistency and intensity in communication to counter negative news. Mineral-based industrial development, including oil and gas. Right Honourable Prime Minister, the priority focus for mineral-based industrial development in financial 26-27 include: 1. Expediting finalization of the East African crude oil pipeline and delivering fast oil in 2026. 2. Finalizing, let me repeat this, mineral-based industrial development. The priority focus for mineral-based industrial development in financial year 26-27 include: 1. Expediting finalization of the East African crude oil pipeline and delivering the first oil in 2026. 2. Finalizing the quantification of mineral deposits, starting with iron ore, gold, and copper, and strengthening their tracking system and their governance regime. 3. Expediting the construction of the oil refinery and the development of the downstream petroleum will support innovation, which is critical for efficiency and productivity growth. The priority interventions in the financial 26-27 budget include: 1. Regulatory and legal reforms to strengthen intellectual property rights protection, reduce bureaucratic barriers and create a business-friendly environment, and to incentivize local manufacturing and innovation-driven enterprise development. 2. Fast-tracking the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act to protect intellectual property and artistic works. They're continuing to support artists for their productions and innovations. 3. Continuing the development of the high-tech city to support development of technologies and innovations. 4. Taking STI products to the market, especially Kira motor vehicles, coffee, dye, by former drugs and vaccines, and banana products. 5. Increasing coverage, reliability, and affordability of internet. 6. USE and universal post-O-level education and training. 2. Providing sponsorship and student loan. I want the country to capture it quickly. Education. Continuing to provide free education to Ugandans under UPE, USE, and universal post-O-level education and training. You have been hearing the President talk much about this. 2. 3. Completing rehabilitation of traditional secondary schools and special needs primary schools. 4. Construction of new city schools and expansion of existing secondary schools. 5. Recruitment of more teachers and non-teaching staff. 5. Strict enforcement of teachers and learners inspection across the country using an electronic system. 7. Providing textbooks and instructional materials. Providing textbooks and instructional materials to improve the textbook to the student ratio. 7. Continue to operationalize of Bunyoro and Busoga universities. 8. Operationalization of new stadia and training facilities constructed by Chan and AFCON 27. Last night we danced very well. Health now. Sustained investment in functionalizing health center 4 and strengthening primary health care and community health services. 2. Scaling up of national e-health infrastructure. 3. Promotion of nutrition, education, and reproductive health. And 4. Continued deploying of community health extension workers. 5. Strengthening the national ambulance and emergency referral system. 6. Continuing the construction of specialized health facilities for cancer and cardiovascular care. Water, sanitation, and environment protection. Continued construction of water supply infrastructure to increase service in underserved communities in rural, urban, and refugee settlements. 2. Increasing rehabilitation and expansion of existing water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure. 3. Increasing and protection of forest cover and wetlands. I repeat this. Increasing and protection of forest cover and wetlands. Infrastructure development, transport and energy. Transport. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the priority interventions for transport infrastructure in financial 26-27 include: 1. Continued construction and completion of the ongoing works for road and bridges projects as prioritized by His Excellency the President in Financial 25-26 and the State of the Nation Address. 2. Continuing with the maintenance of core national road transport network. 3. Expediting the construction of the standard gauge railway and complete ongoing works for rehabilitation of the meter gauge railway. 4. Continuing with the development of Casa Port, additional capitalization of Uganda Airlines to acquire more aircrafts, to open up more routes for passenger and cargo transportation and handling capacity. 5. Operationalization of Kabalega International Airport and rehabilitation and upgrade of the existing strategic airports and aerodromes. Now, energy infrastructure, Right Honorable Prime Minister, the priority interventions for energy infrastructure in financial 26-27 include: 1. Continue investing in priority transmission lines and substations, particularly to the industrial parks, growth centers, and other strategic manufacturing. 2. Development of new power generation plants to meet the growing energy demand. 3. Strengthening UEDCL to ensure affordable, efficient, and reliable distribution of electricity to consumers. And 4, diversification of the energy generation resource, including hydropower, nuclear, solar, thermal, to improve the energy mix in the medium to the long term. Governance and security. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the priority of intervention in financial 26-27 will include: 1. Consolidating Uganda's security through continued modernization and professionalization of the security agencies. 2. Improving the welfare of the security forces. 3. Increased use of technology in justice delivery. 3. Improve access to justice. 4. Increasing the civil jurisdiction of Majlis Court. Legislation and oversight. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the priority intervention of financial 26-27 will include: strengthening legislative processes. 2. Promoting public engagement and outreach. 3. Providing parliamentary oversight of democracy and governance. And 4. Ensuring accountability for public funds and the implementation of public programs. I'm about to finish. Climate change adaptation. Right Honorable Prime Minister, government commenced implementation of various climate change adaptation and mitigation projects to cushion Ugandans and the economy against disruptive climate change shocks. Focus is on safeguarding communities against floods and droughts through establishment of flood early warning systems, improving productivity of livestock through breed improvement, establishing of water for production facilities to ensure water security and protect farmers against droughts, restoration, and degraded wetlands and rivers. Government is undertaking the climate change budget tagging exercise, which obligates all government agencies to budget for activities that combat climate change. Through this reform, all government agencies are able to allocate financial resources towards actions that safeguard government programs against adverse climate change effects. The financing strategy. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the 10-fold growth strategy will require mobilizing significant resources This will include 1. Reprioritization of resources in the current fiscal framework, or repurposing to increase allocative efficiency. 2. Implementing strategies to boost domestic revenue mobilization. 3. Increasing foreign direct investment by maintaining sound fiscal and monetary policies to ensure macroeconomic stability and improve the country's credit ratings. Infrastructure development, reducing the cost of doing business, improving governance of government institutions and the corporate sector, improving efficiency of timely delivery of PPP projects, and 5, intensifying access to non-affordable and sustainable financing through adequate capitalization of UDB, UDC, SEF, SBRF, EMIOGA, which attracts private capital and commercial bank financing in partnership with the government. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the financial 26-27 budget strategy will balance the dual objectives of mobilizing financing and preserving debt sustainability by 1. Enhancing reliance on innovative, low-cost financing, climate grants, concessional windows, Islamic finance, diaspora instruments. 2. Reducing refinancing and foreign exchange risks by deepening domestic markets and strengthening maturities. 3. Aligning project financing with fiscal space and absorptive capacity to avoid cost overruns. And 4. Position a strategy that draws on concessional, semi-concessional, commercial, blended, and non-traditional sources such as infrastructure and Islamic bond, as well as domestic financial markets. Innovative financing solutions. Right Honorable Prime Minister, my ministry is intensifying access to non-traditional innovative financing by speeding up implementation of the public investment financing strategy. Notable progress has been made to mobilize resources for the financing year 26-27 as follows. 1. Issuance of Sukuk bond under Islamic financing to co-finance projects like the Kampala-Jinja Express Highway and Standard Gauge Railway. Right Honorable, my ministry issued a request for proposal to banks using their mobile phones. The integration is using their mobile phones. The integration of this platform with Airtel Uganda fund managers and custodian completed has been completed, and the user acceptance testing with Airtel was successful. Efforts are ongoing to bring on board the MTN telecom company and working to resolve the compatibility issues with the Bank of Uganda. Issuance of Panda bond in the Chinese market. Right Honorable Prime Minister, my ministry held a road show in China, and potential investors for the Panda bond were identified. Discussions are underway to secure guarantees from African Development Bank, World Bank, African Bank, and the Asian Insurance Investment Bank. The priority actions this financial year include identifying ready investment projects for a panda bond. 2, securing guarantees to investors and finalize and coordinate the bond issuance. Issuance of green bonds. Right Honorable Prime Minister, my ministry has completed the terms of reference for green bond framework and procurement of consultant is ongoing. The next priority actions include finalizing and operationalizing the national green bond framework. 2, creating a pipeline of eligible projects for potential green bond issuance. 3, engaging development partners, e.g. African Development Bank, IMF, for technical assistance. The projected financing from this source is at least 100 million, I think there are dollars, to finance environmentally sustainable investment, mobilizing financing from diaspora. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the national diaspora policy is being developed, spearheaded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The priority next action include finalizing the national diaspora policy to provide clarity, trust, and strategic direction of engagement with the diaspora. Building a robust diaspora database, including savings and established pattern of remittance usage. 3, automating account opening for both regular banking. Let me repeat this because it is very important. Mobilizing financing from diaspora. The national diaspora policy is being developed, spearheaded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The priority next action include 1, finalizing the national diaspora policy to provide clarity, trust, and strategic direction of engagement with the diaspora. 2, building a robust diaspora database, including savings and established pattern remittance usage. 3, automating account opening for both regular banking and central securities depository account to enable Ugandans in diaspora invest in domestic security market. And 4, preparation of projects or investments attractive to the diaspora. And 5, conducting road shows to promote diaspora bonds and gather diaspora feedback. Issuance of infrastructure bond. Right Honorable Prime Minister, this source of financing is initially proposed to financing the Kampala-Jinja Expressway project as part of financing for this PPP project. The infrastructure bond framework is already in place, and the next step is selection of viable projects for this bond. Improving delivery efficiency of PPPs. Right Honorable Prime Minister, public-private partnerships have significant potential to deliver large projects such as infrastructure. However, they have been constrained by institutional arrangements that need to be addressed. To improve efficiency of PPPs, the following interventions will be undertaken starting in the financial year 26-27. 1, undertake capacity building on PPPs in MDAs and local governments covering key personnel such as planners, engineers, procurement officers, and political leaders. 2, refinancing and committing resources for key projects such as KJE, Kampala Bombo, to avoid stampede and budget shocks. Aligning the nature of financing to project characteristics. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the nature of financing to be mobilized will depend on the nature of the projects. Concessional financing will be prioritized for projects that are not financially viable but are critical for human capital development and service delivery. These include education, health, water and sanitation, livelihoods, and social protection programs. Key examples are the Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, the Uganda Learning Acceleration Program, and the establishment of the regional oncology and diagnostic centers, to mention but a few. This will ensure that essential services reach citizens at the lowest possible cost. Semi-concessional and blended financing will be directed towards transformative infrastructure projects that are financially and economically viable. These include the Masaka-Mbarara and Uganda South Sudan transmission lines, the rehabilitation of the Kira Narubali hydro plant, and the National Backbone Infrastructure Project. In addition, flagship undertakings such as the Standard Gauge Railway and Bukasa Port Phase 2 will be structured under blended financing arrangements, while major expressways such as the Busega-Mpigi Expressway and the Kampala-Jinja Expressway will be developed through public-private partnerships model. Commercial financing, including export credit agency financing, will be applied strictly to projects with clear streams that can be serviced directly from projected proceeds. These include investments in oil and gas infrastructure such as the refinery and pipeline, industrial and business parks, strategic road corridors, electricity transmission lines and substations, as well as large-scale irrigation and water supply systems. This approach preserves concessional and semi-concessional resources for projects in the social sectors that do not generate direct financial returns but are essential for service delivery and human development. Right Honorable Prime Minister, for non-external finance projects, government will allocate 50% of the net domestic financing to their implementation. This will include, among others, district and community access roads projects, transport infrastructure maintenance, health, education, water, and sanitation. This will ensure that the local governments are adequately supported to deliver services directly to the citizens. Right Honorable Prime Minister, this alignment of financing with the project viability will guarantee that resources are mobilized at the lowest possible cost, fiscal risks are minimized, and development outcomes are maximized across central and local governments. Strategies to improve disbursement of external loans and grants. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the proposed budget for financial 26-27 will prioritize financing for solutions to the challenges hindering project implementation. These strategies include improving programming and management of counterparty funding, especially that meant for land acquisition and compensation, prioritizing critical projects, exploring alternative funding sources, improving project preparation, streamlining approval processes, strengthening and enforcement of environmental and social safeguards, simplifying procurement procedures, and reviewing loan approval processes. Medium-term reforms to unlock large financing. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, to mobilize funds to finance large projects and long-term investments, government will undertake the following interventions in the medium term. Rethinking the reform of the pension sector, insurance, and the capital markets to unlock huge financing potential. 2, form a conglomerate of equity companies around the mineral reserves, assets owned by government, and attract private capital by listing of shares. 3, incentivizing and promotion of corporate debt financing to relieve government of the debt burden generated from financing such institutions like corporate bonds with more favorable terms for institutions like UDB, UDC, National Water and Sewage Corporation. Reforming the PPP framework to address the current lacuna in the law that is constraining progress in formulation and execution of PPP projects. Status of public debt. Honorable Prime Minister, Uganda's public debt remains sustainable over the medium term. By end of June, total stock of public debt was $32.33 billion, which is equivalent to 116.2 Uganda shilling trillion, up from $25.63 billion, which translates to Uganda shillings 9.472 trillion as at the end of June 2024. Of this, domestic debt was $16.8 billion, which is equivalent to 60.34 trillion Uganda shillings, and external was $15.54 billion, which translates into 55.88 trillion Uganda shillings. This translated into a debt to GDP ratio of 51.3%, remaining within a sustainable threshold in the short to the medium term. The increase in public debt reflects higher external disbursement and expanded domestic borrowing to finance major infrastructure projects. The share of domestic debt as a percentage of the total debt stock rose to 51.9% as at the end of June 2025 from 42.9% the previous year, which was within the approved medium-term debt strategy and annual borrowing plan. The external commercial debt stock slightly reduced by 11.3% as of June 2025 compared to the previous year due to repayments of $243 million, exceeding new disbursements of $122 million. Budget risks and mitigations. Honorable Prime Minister, these internal, external, regional, and global challenges and opportunities that could impact positively or negatively the attainment of the objectives of the budget strategy. A, the potential impact of the global trade war. B, disruption in export markets. C, continued high interest rates and further in overseas development assistance. D, corruption in the public sector. E, regional and global conflicts. F, devastating effects of climate change. Proposed strategies to manage this risk. A, identify the political and technical intensify the political and technical discussions through strengthening economic and commercial diplomacy. B, diversification of exports and trade markets and strengthening regional and continental trade. C, enhance digitization and automation of government systems and processes. D, expedite implementation of innovative financing strategies. E, implementing adaptation climate change policies and intensify activities for accessing climate finance. For example, green bonds, date swaps for nature. Now, let me conclude. I'm sure you are dying. It has been too long, don't worry. In line with the Public Finance Management Act 2015, amended, the following are the next steps. Just listen very carefully. A, issuance of the first budget call circular to give detailed guidance to all programs, ministries, departments, and agencies to start preparation for financial year 26-27 budget framework paper in line with this strategy. B, preparation of the national budget framework paper to be submitted to Parliament by 31st December 2025. With all these many things that I have said, I wish now to lay my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I also want to thank you for listening attentively. With the progress we have so far made, I think we can now break for tea break, and then we come back thereafter.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Allow me, Right Honorable Prime Minister, to do a very simple thing which should have been earlier. I request that the Honorable Ministers who are attending kindly stand up for recognition before we break, because I understand, Prime Minister, you may be going away. So can I request, I beg your indulgence, so, Ministers who are here, kindly stand up for recognition. We'll not mention sectors, but just stand up for recognition, please. Can I request the Ministers of State as well? Permanent Secretaries, please. Permanent Secretaries present, please stand up for recognition. And allow me, the delegates of my Permanent Secretary, to mention here that this event is put together by the Directorate of Budget. All officers who belong to the Directorate of Budget, led by our captain, please stand up for recognition. Now, this team will be traversing the country to continue with the process that the PS spoke to, and kindly honor them when they come with all the ideas and innovative contributions that you can make. May I also request your Right Honourable Prime Minister that you indulge us with a picture, but this picture is going to be limited and it's going to be taken here at the front so that we're able to record this. I request that the Prime Minister be joined by the ministers and the permanent secretaries here. And it's going to be a short picture taken quickly as we exit. So, Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Special announcement. I am supposed to represent the President right now in Fort Portal. And so I can see I have on this program, I will be chairing the panel of discussion on the budget strategy. And so I want to delegate my sister, Honorable Musenero. She will be standing here in my shoes to take us through this process as I go to represent the President in Fort Portal. Thank you so much.
May I request the chairpersons and members of parliament present? I apologize for that omission. Chairpersons of committees and members of parliament present, kindly stand up for recognition. And the opposition chief whip as well. I'm aware that could be here. Okay, thank you very much. May I request, with your permission, Right Honourable Prime Minister, it will be the second stair at the front. I request the ministers to join, and I request the permanent secretaries as well. The ministers, permanent secretaries, National Planning Authority, chairmen of committees of parliament, members of parliament, please. Chairmen of committees of parliament. Thank you very much. The minister normally says money has come, money is coming. I think this picture has come. Can we smile, all of us, so that the picture has actually arrived? For the cameras, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, photographers and media crews. Thank you very much. So we are breaking for 30 minutes and we'll be back for business. Thank you very much. As I mentioned, as you exit, we have protocol teams which are going to usher the VVIPs at a special lounge on the ground floor. That is going to happen as you exit. May I request that our colleagues from the prisons band take over in the interlude, and then 30 minutes we'll be back here. Thank you very much.
Okuruganto boyumutima gwitu itwenga TV West nutsimabo abarukututa musente abarukukwatanisana itwe hamwe